When choosing your first mountain bike, one of the biggest decisions is whether to go for a hardtail or a full suspension bike. Hardtails only have suspension on the front wheel, while full sussers will have both front and rear suspension. Now between the £1,000 and £2,000 price mark, there's a lot of choice of both full sus and hardtail bikes that are great for trail riding as well as cross-country adventures. We'll look at the pros and cons of each to help you decide which is best for you. Choosing between a hardtail or a full suspension bike won't necessarily limit the scope of your riding. While the feel and the character of the ride will be different, you can take on exactly the same terrain on a hardtail with a 140mm travel suspension fork as you can on a full suspension bike with a 140mm travel front and rear. The two main advantages of a full suspension bike are comfort and traction. As the rear wheel conforms to the bumps on the trail, a ride is much smoother on a full suspension bike. You also get more grip in the corners. This is because the tyre bites into the ground much better when it's not bouncing around all over the place. A full suspension bike will help you to ride with more confidence and you'll be quicker on rough terrain. A hardtail will give you a much more direct experience of the trail. Riding a hardtail encourages you to pick your lines more carefully and to be more active on the bike, using your legs to absorb the bumps on the trail. Learning to pop over bumps on the trail rather than ploughing straight through them is a skill that will help you whatever type of bike you ride. Being simpler, hardtail frames are less expensive to produce than full suspension bikes. This means you get a much better component spec than you would on an equivalently priced full sus. The fork, the wheels and the tyres all make a big difference to how a bike feels on the trail, and a better quality drivetrain will make gear shifting easier. With no rear shock or suspension linkages, hardtails are inherently lighter than full suspension bikes. Components also make a big difference to the weight of the bike, so a hardtail will be lighter weight again when compared to an equivalently priced full suspension bike. Mountain bikes are fun whichever type you choose. Full suspension bikes are easier to ride on rough terrain, while hardtails require more effort. This means that you can ride faster with more confidence on a full suspension bike, but the effort that you need to put in on a hardtail can make the ride more rewarding. On smooth terrain, hardtails are even faster because they are lighter weight and have a more direct connection to the ground. So hardtails tend to be lighter weight and have better components, whereas a full suspension bike is more comfortable. Hardtails are better for learning skills, but you'll ride with more confidence on a full sus bike. On smooth terrain, hardtails are faster, but when the going gets rough, you will be quicker on a full suspension bike. They're both good for their different things, but whatever bike you choose, you'll be sure to have lots of fun.